Welcome to UVTV, motherfucker. I'm gonna kick spiritual ass and do this for my people. On God. Nia nigga feather me in. Today I'm gonna be talking about the patriarchy made up the God is a woman concept to confuse people all about what divine femininity is. Alright, so boom. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to try. I'm going to try to make this shit short because I already got plenty of videos already talking about this for the most part. But just to put out a certain amount of disclaimers and sentiment, you know what I'm saying? Like a builder. I'm going to build this shit up. I'm going to blow it up, though. I'm going to blow it up, build this shit up, structure it out and stuff like that. Add a lot of stability and fortitude behind what the shit I'm talking about in the first place and stuff like that. Because, you know what I'm saying? It's UVTV and shit. I'm UV. I'll be talking about everything in existence just in general. But for the most part, right? For the most part, I can see where a lot of rabbit holes, a lot of pitfalls and stuff like that, where y'all be stumbling and following, stumble and falling and following. You know what I'm saying? Instead of leading the head charge of the right way of some type of clarity or some clearer way or broader way of how to look at something and how to expand something further. But y'all be having that clouded judgment. Y'all be having on the rose-colored glasses and stuff like that. Y'all be having on all this different sympathies and illusions that really be delusions that y'all be lost into and stuff like that, to where it be making y'all confused based upon comparing, contrasting different things they be having in the external world of what something supposed to look like based upon their Americanized concept and capitalism and things being systematic and industrialized and stuff like that, and capitalism and things of that nature. So it be making y'all really confused on how to look at stuff and point to the right things and discrepancies, and y'all get lost into the certain examples they be showing based upon, you know what I'm saying, Lionsgate, Walt Disney, Universal, Sony, Warner Bros. And stuff like that, based upon entertainment, business, religion, politics, education, culture too. So based upon all those different things, y'all be kind of getting lost into these different rabbit holes and discrepancies, and y'all be like casting stones at shit that are really things that already got constructed for y'all to basically to throw stones at, to make it so y'all can basically go against y'all own people and y'all own cultures and y'all own men and women amongst y'all different races and cultures and stuff like that, and ethnicities and things of that nature. But it's like shit, shadow government be setting up on purpose based upon the Americanized concept and this being the new world and all this type stuff. You know what I'm saying? So based upon these different concepts and stuff like that, it be making y'all confused of how to go about something the right way, and then y'all end up fighting the fight for something that these people don't even give a fuck about you like that. You know what I'm saying? Or y'all trying to be a part of the right side of history and all that type shit, when y'all don't be trying to understand the mysticism, the mystery behind the history to why it's like that in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah. But for the most part, first things first, I'm gonna get into the patriarchy. Now, I know the patriarchy, anything that's dealing with something patriarchal and stuff like that, right? It be dealing with, the men controlling everything and stuff like that. And I know a lot of women be watching my channel because I look at analytics. You know what I'm saying? I look at analytics. I look at my stats and stuff like that. And based upon, I'm in a space where a lot of feminine people or a lot of females and stuff like that be more into this type of shit based upon the shit I be talking about just in general. Right? And me being a man is going to look weird, but this is really the rooted space of how this stuff got created in the first place. But we going to get there, though. I'm going to explain all that shit. Right? I know the patriarchy be dealing with, the men ruling over everything and stuff like that. And then based upon the societal norms, they done made based upon the government, and the government is just the governing mentality based upon where we at right now, which is America. And there's different cultures that also be doing this too. But the way it's in America now, and the way they be trying to rule over shit and take over, and you know what I'm saying, like put the wool over y'all eyes and all that type shit to make it so it's hard for y'all to see the shit, and all the soothsaying they be saying just in general, right? Based upon what the patriarchy is and the men ruling and stuff like that, y'all don't be understanding it from a mental or spiritual standpoint to why motherfuckers be thinking like that in the first place. And then they'll put out a lot of sentiments to confuse y'all about what that shit is, and y'all start comparing something that's masculine and feminine energies to male and female to men and women. You get what I'm saying? When all those different things, even though it come off like they're the same thing, they're kind of like mechanisms. They're not really the same things, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like masculine and feminine, anybody can have a masculine and feminine side. So it's going to turn into something that's a male trait or a female trait, but that turns into how we look at men and women. An actual man, a male man, and an actual female man. You get what I'm saying? A womb man. So a female with a man with a womb type shit. But I'm gonna get there though. I'm gonna explain all that. Men being like the first man, the Adam, and then Eve being the first woman, all that type shit. When all this stuff is allegorical and they play off of that. That's why they'll make something like the Bible to make y'all get lost into some type of spiritual system and concept or some type of religion, aka a real legion of what they created to make y'all part of their legion instead of you being a whole legion with your people, with your own culture and your own spiritual system and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all get lost into idol worship and all that type stuff based upon how they want y'all to look at God. And this is just another pocket of what that is. They're trying to make basically they're trying to make like a anthropomorphized version of what God is, but they're making the mentality, they're making the deity. And from them making the deity and y'all getting lost into the deification of something, the idol worship, basically, like the icon, the star player, the representation of what that is, you just get lost into their government, their governing mentality. You get lost into their light. You get lost into their idols and stuff like that. You get lost into their celebrities and things of that nature that they're utilizing to make you look at, oh, this what it means to be a part of the world. Oh, this what it means based upon societal norms. This what it means to do something for the greater of humanity and all that type shit. And then they be putting out these sentiments to make y'all lost into that too, because that's what they did to take over and shit like that. Like anything that they did that they look at as like a sin or illegal and stuff like that, nigga, that's what y'all did to take over America, just in general and stuff like that, and making a big ass gumbo melting pot and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But like, it is what it is now and stuff like that, based upon what y'all did to take over. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing this for my people. So this whole thing itself is not like, this whole channel is just made for this. I'm trying to not make y'all be lost. I'm trying to make y'all not. I ain't trying to make y'all do some counterculture shit either, though. You know what I'm saying? I ain't like anti everything and all that type shit. The Antichrist. I ain't on some rebellious, radical, degenerate shit or anything like that. But at the same time, I'm just trying to make y'all more aware. And then based upon y'all having more awareness, y'all gonna have more of an attention span to pick certain shit up so you can attract the right energies around you. Because based upon what you're paying attention to, that's the type of energy you're gonna end up attracting. And that is like a mechanism in itself. Like I was saying, the father, the mother, the masculine, the feminine, the man and the womb man. So making a womb out of something, a container, and then expanding the container or trying to do something outside the container, just in general, even though it's really the same thing. You're trying to do something outside the box to make the box bigger so you can have a better attention span. So it's at a bigger, better magnitude and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's way more broad. It's way more informative. It's way more productive and stuff like that. It's way more cultivated. You're having a bigger parameter, a bigger arena, a bigger space. You have more things to work with and stuff like that. I'm gonna get there though. So like, just in general, right? When it comes to the patriarchy, I didn't even get to the title of the video. On God, I started going in about other shit. Even though all of this kind of go together. But when it comes to the patriarchy and stuff like that, right? That's a template. Okay, I want y'all to understand and stuff like that, right? Based upon the patriarchy, it's gonna start with that origin point of things that's dealing with patriarchal shit when it comes to the Bible and stuff like that. So the Abrahamic God and monotheism, especially when it comes to Christianity, even though they made up all those, even though the shadow government made up all that shit to make y'all lost into the religious concepts. So something that's based upon Christianity and Jesus, Christ, and Muslim and Muhammad, or even Judaism with the Jews and all that type shit, the Holy Trinity and stuff like that. They're just trying to make y'all lost into monotheism and make it so you can only look at God in one way. Because the same way how they be like, oh yeah, there's only one God, it's not multiple gods and all that type shit. No, they just want y'all to look at God in one way and that's it. So it make y'all small and single-minded and all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? You can't think broadly. And then don't take that and then turn it into, oh, okay, so believe in polygamy and polytheism and all that type shit. Believe in multiple gods and stuff like that. No, it's like a mechanism. Sometimes you have to go based upon that one way of how to go about something, and then sometimes you have to be more mutable. You know what I'm saying? If you into astrology, be more mutable. You have to think more, you know what I'm saying? You have to think in a multitude of different ways. You have to add different energy to what you're thinking about. You can't just think in that one single track minded type of way. Sometimes you have to think from multiple magnitudes and stuff like that. You have to think from multiple spaces. You have to think from multiple lanes. And spirituality is just that in general, right? It's the actuality of putting yourself in a whole bunch of different spaces. If you're putting yourself in a whole bunch of different spaces, you're putting yourself in a whole bunch of different arenas. You know what I'm saying? You're putting yourself in a whole bunch of different cultures. You're putting yourself in a whole bunch of different thoughts and feelings and mentalities and stuff like that. So that's like you being yourself in front of a million different people and stuff like that. Okay, what do they got? A spirit, their individual space. From them having their own soul. If they have their own soul, they have their own mind. So it's a whole bunch of different minds critiquing what you're doing with your mind and stuff like that. But you was able to cultivate a way to make it so people can observe you and see your abilities and what you can create and your experiences and your observations, and you can show your spiritual testimony of what you can do and shit. So based upon that patriarchy concept, right, it's gonna, that whole concept in itself, they be utilizing when it comes to religion. They be utilizing that when it comes to the Abrahamic God and stuff like that. Because like I was saying before, they do this with business, religion, education, politics, culture, and education and stuff like that. But I'm gonna talk about the religious aspect. When it comes to religion, they be using the Abrahamic God, the father of a multitude, what Abraham supposed to represent and stuff like that. So from him being the father of that religion, when it comes to Judaism and Christianity and Islam and stuff like that, right? All they're doing, if you really want to get analytical about it, right, and understand what the allegory of what they talking about and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Like God chose the chosen people, which is like the Jews and stuff like that, and then they had to remove the people from Egypt, and they had to perform. You know what I'm saying? Like they had to go on a whole fucking exodus and all that type shit, right? They really talking about things within the mind and stuff like that. But if you want to make that super raw and be real and stuff like that, it's just them justifying colonization. Oh, we're gonna take these people from this land because God said so and stuff like that. The way they look at God, they're just looking at God like a deity, like a mentality and stuff like that. So based upon that mentality, they're justifying colonization. They're justifying clearing out a space of what someone else already claimed, and they putting you into a colony. They're going to settle there. So they know you're already settled there, but we're going to take you from that settlement, and we feel like we better people and stuff like that. So we're going to colonize your ass and stuff like that. We're going to colonize your ass. Like on God, like, yeah, like that's basically all that is and stuff like that. So that's the father of that concept. And then they turned it into a religion and stuff like that, of people practicing those practices and stuff like that. And we see that in reality and stuff like that. Nigga, they took over everywhere. They took over Africa. They took over fucking, they was fighting amongst themselves when it come to the wars and stuff like that. And Europe and things of that nature. And then Christopher Columbus concepts, and they started doing the 13 colonies and stuff like that. They started taking over the Americas, even though the original people was Native Americans. And then they made a spiritual concept out of it to make it so they can do that, but you can't do it. And then we're going to make some idolized concept of what that is and stuff like that. We're going to make it spiritual, but we're going to make it seem like it's some fairy tale that happened in reality, even though it did happen in reality. Not the Jesus concept like, oh, miracles happening and all that type shit. Right? And then them being the real Jews and the real Israelites and the real Hebrews and stuff like that. And God told them they could have that land. And he started spreading diseases of the people already on that land to make them leave and flee and all that type shit. And the different spies on that area to try to see what the fuck they doing and stuff like that. They just talking about some odd private shit. They just talking about spying on your ass and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? All the way down to technology right now with Ring cameras and stuff like that. They gonna watch everything you do because, you know what I'm saying? Like, like that's gonna get deep into some other shit, man. Like, that's gonna get deep into some other shit. But based upon that religious concept, right? Based upon the patriarchal shit, right? It leads into what they be doing with the patriarchy when it comes to men. And the men taking over and stuff like that. That's what they did to take over America, just in general, based upon colonization and capitalism. So, based upon the patriarchy, that's why they always gonna put the man in that position. They just do it based upon degenerate shit. You get it? Like, cause I'm gonna explain the concept of how y'all supposed to be really looking at masculine and feminine and stuff like that, right? So, based upon the masculine and feminine, right? Look at the men or the Adam, like the first men and stuff like that. Look at that like a thought and idea. Look at female like a feeling and an emotion. And we see that on a high percentage scale. Now, as spirits, we're androgynous. We have a masculine and a feminine side. But considering you're a male, where a dick and balls, you like to direct shit and you like to drop your nuts about something. You know what I'm saying? You want to stand on business about something. Shout out Drewski. And then if you're a female, okay, you got a pussy, you got a twat, you got a coochie, you got a womb. So you like to contain things. That's why you like to beget a child and stuff like that. You like to create a child just in general. So you're like the after effects of that. You know what I'm saying? So men like to direct and then women like to redirect. Men would be like a walking frequency, and then the woman would be like a walking vibration, a walking feeling and emotion, and then the men would be a walking frequency, the frequent ability to build and create more and stuff like that and direct a certain energy. So that's why, based upon those different things, that's why men be put in positions, oh, the boys got to be the boys, the men got to be the men and stuff like that. Oh, we're the real men and stuff like that. We're the real providers and stuff like that. But then y'all get lost into the material and the external world representation of what that is because we colonize and things of that nature. So they make money based upon them being on a dollar bill important, but there would be no concept of valuing the dollar bill without some type of spiritual system and some meaning and reasoning behind it to why y'all even worship it in the first place. Because before the dollar bill was created, we had trading systems, and then based upon the different resources and the values based upon food, water, shelter, cloths, things to survive through the wintertime and all that type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Security and things of that nature, that used to be the trading system and the value in the money. But after that, they made the concept of, oh, you need the paper dollar bill, and then we gonna put paddle wheel motherfuckers, the father of a nation motherfuckers on the dollar bill, and then y'all can be in this in God we trust concept and stuff like that. You have to believe in us to have that ability to keep on creating our concept based upon colonization and all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so men like to externalize shit. They like to think more left brain. So they think more logically based upon thinking and communicating and articulating and analyzing. And then women have more emotional intelligence. And from them having that emotional intelligence, it's going to be based upon some type of emotion, feeling, or intuition, or something they feel inside more. You know what I'm saying? So even though they both internal type of energies, but you get what I'm trying to say. So men like to be walking attention spans, and then women like to be walking attractiveness and stuff like that. But the thing is, they try to understand the opposite polarity and stuff like that. So men like to understand their feminine side, so they want to understand how to be more attractive. Because considering they like to be built and chin up, chest out type of concept, and be built and be muscular and stuff like that, right? They want to be able to stand on their own, be more singular, and have their own way of how to direct shit and run shit for the most part. And then women, they lack that ability. That's why they'll always trying to be a part of something. So they always gonna be paying attention to what the men is doing or what the masculine energy is just in general. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like a mechanism. You gain attention onto something based upon what you paying attention to, gaining attention span, gaining awareness about, and then you attract people to what you paying attention to. That's why a woman, they be having titties and ass and breasts and pussy and all that type stuff. They be utilizing the thing they're attractive in to make people pay attention to what they doing just in general. So a men can gain attention and know how to build and create all day, but they don't know how to attract people to what they're doing. And a woman can be attractive, right? They can be attractive and draw people to what they're doing all day, but they have no thinking concept behind what they're doing. So they can be attractive all day, but they lack direction. You get it? You know what I'm saying? Like, they lack character. They lack personality. They lack, like, okay, you attracted people to what you're doing, but what are you going to do with it? You got no plan. You don't got no purpose. You don't got no direction of where you going. You just like motherfucker worshiping you, and you like a goddess, and you just pretty and stuff like that. But you got no thing upstairs. You know what I'm saying? You ain't thinking like where you going, like what are you gonna do with that? And then niggas, they can have the plan, the platform, and build and create and stuff like that. But how you gonna draw people to give a fuck about what you're doing and stuff like that? You have no attractive qualities. And then the minute you start doing it to an extreme, you sound like a red pill motherfucker. And then when a woman, once you do that to an extreme and stuff like that, you just sound like some feminist or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You just sound like some what they call that shit? Female misogyny or some shit like that. I forgot what they call that shit. What's the female version of like being a misogynist? I forgot. Misandrist? Misandrist. I knew I knew the word. Misandrist. You just sound like a misandrist. And then niggas, when they do that to an extreme, you sound like a misogynist. You just sound like a fucking incel. And then, yeah, men just sound like a fucking incel. And then women, y'all just sound like a femcel. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I want to make that mad simple. But just in general, yeah, men will help women learn how to let go of stuff. And then women will help men women will help men learn how to attach to something. You know what I'm saying? Be a part of something. Because they're more in the motherly type of energy. So caring, caring, and cultivating something. Like not cultivating something, that's not the right word. Containing something. So based upon what they're containing and the thing that they want you to be a part of, because they want you to look at it like a responsibility and things of that nature. So you start giving a fuck about that thing in Pacific. You know what I'm saying? So that's why the women get put into that predicament from them being more in that feminine energy, why they carry a child, because they're going to be more motherly. They're going to care about it more. You know what I'm saying? They're going to have more feeling emotion. They're going to care about how it feels in its emotions. And then the nigga be in that position, he's going to be the provider and protector and stuff like that. And he's going to lead that child to learn how to direct things in the right energies and stuff like that. So it's like the men being the walking sons. That's why the male child will be a son, And then the woman, I mean, the female child will be like the daughter and stuff like that. So that's where that sons of God, daughters of men concept be coming from and all that type of shit for the most part. So the son will be a walking sun, and then the daughter will be like a walking moon, a walking comfort zone, a walking emotion, a walking phase. You get it? So something that's celestial or heavenly, right? Heaven just means the abode of God. So from it being the abode of God, it's just something to do with the atmosphere. The atmosphere is just the sphere at most, the word at most. So God like it when you make your own sphere. He like when you make your own world. He like when you act heavenly, when you make your internal heaven and stuff like that. The thing that pleases you and you using your supernatural abilities and stuff like that. When really all that means is taking things that are unseen and making it seen. Taking things from your imagination and you being a spiritual magician, right? And you being a sorcerer or a sorceress, aka a witch and stuff like that, and you attract people to what you doing. So you can be a source of life. And then eventually it turned into things like adultery and idol worship and stuff like that and being inspired. And then they turned that into some concept of God and goddesses and stuff like that. When really you're just worshiping someone's mentality of their ability of what they can do just in general. But all of us have the same ability. Otherwise, we want to be sentient right now. And you want to be in a human vessel right now and things of that nature. You're also capable of these things. You just have to figure out who you are as a person at the most naturalist state from you understanding your abilities and things of that nature. And that's the only supernatural way of how you can do about that. I mean, of how you can go about that. So you being part of nature and then you understanding your natural natures and what caters to you. So something could be good for you but bad for someone else to you. But that's you being yourself. So from you being yourself, that's you being a walking sun, a walking star, a walking celestial body. The same way how the mood shifts and stuff like that. And then you're able to shift your mood the same way. And then that's where that astrology, astronomy, and anatomy concepts start to come in and of how we got astrology. What the sun and moon pocket is doing based upon the different seasonal transitions. Let's say we're going through Aries, Taurus, and Gemini season, which is during the springtime. So that's like you germinating and planting certain seeds and stuff like that. And when the bees start to pollinate and all that type stuff, when you start to actualize those type of things during the springtime of you planting seeds, of you doing more, like, you know what I'm saying? You planting more seeds, you trying to do newer things just in general and stuff like that, right? And then during the summertime, you start to give it life based upon what you planted during the springtime and things of that nature during those times. You know, Aries, the cardinal portion of spring, Taurus, the fixated portion of spring, Gemini, the mutable portion of spring, and then it turns into what it is right now, Cancer season, the cardinal portion of summertime, aka bringing life to something. That's like you bringing life or sentience to a mentality and stuff like that. And once you give it life, it's gonna turn to autumn time or fall time. So that's what it actually starts to. Everything starts to fall down when it all falls down and things of that nature. So as below, and things start to become more mature. So the thing that you gave to life during the summertime, it became more mature and it became an adult, and it starts to, that's the start of that harvest season and stuff like that. So you have to harvest what you did during spring and summertime, because now it's fully mature. But now you got to harvest and make sure you cultivated all the great things you did during that time. Because once it started to transmute into wintertime, things gonna get more cold, dead, and distant. Things gonna start being more inactive. Things gonna start being more dead and stuff like that. And then motherfuckers gotta start wearing shit I got on right now just to keep warmth and things of that nature. So anything dealing with anything that's high temperament, that's more closeness. And then anything dealing with more low temperament, that's more distant. So that's more, like I was saying before, cold, dead, and distant. And anything dealing with high temperament or things being in heat and stuff like that, that deals with closeness. So spring and summertime, well, springtime specifically, that's the most personal. That's the most close you're supposed to be towards your state of being or what your spirit is doing. And then during the summertime, it's going to be more cultivated based upon what the mind state that you're in, the mentality that you're in. During the fall time, that deals more of what you're doing in reality or in the flesh. And then the wintertime is more about what you do in the external world and how can you recreate it for the most part. How can you do something recreational and stuff like that? So even during the wintertime, you're still able to do the same thing that you've been doing, but you are cultivated a whole bunch of different things during the spring and summertime to make it so you can still actively do that during the wintertime, just in general. That's why businesses be closing down during the wintertime, especially Christmas. And from them making that a holy day based upon religion and Hanukkah and all that type of stuff, that's them trying to cash out on some religious concept of them making that a holy sacred day because they made up that concept just in general just so y'all can go to Walmart and go get a Christmas tree and shit like that for $4.99 and Black Friday sales and all that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like in some way, shape, or form, they gonna capitalize on y'all. They gonna colonize y'all. You know what I'm saying? It go deep. We in America though. You know, we in America. So just in general, right? When it comes to God, God is just all possibilities. And you being heavenly, you being celestial and stuff like that. So it's not to say you being God, aka you being all possibilities. No, you're just making yourself a part of existence. That's really all that is. If you a part of God, you're just a part of existence. You're trying to be a part of all of creation in so much shape and form by you creating something for yourself. And that's what God like. That's why everyone has a personal relationship with God, because everyone has their own personal relationship of how they make things possible for them, for things that suit them, just in general. And the more you know how to make a new pocket or something that's more refreshing or something that's more you know what I'm saying? Something that's more enticing, something that's new that we ain't never seen before, and you try to add more abilities to what you're able to do and stuff like that. That's you adding more experiences and more abilities to your belt. So even after death and stuff like that, you was able to let those different things go. You was able to let go of the things you did in the external world, let go of the body and the flesh, and let go of the mentality you was in. And the only thing that's going to be everlasting and eternal and high-hanging fruit is what your spirit is doing, and that's the thing that's going to get immortalized. Not some deity type of concept where you get lost into someone else's creations. You know what I'm saying? That's like you getting lost into someone else's mentality. So you got lost into someone else's creations, and you get lost into someone else's businesses, and you don't know how to mind your business and create your own businesses that other people can be a part of based upon what you created and cultivated and what you're doing just in general. So it's not God as a woman and stuff like that. It's God as all possibility, and then sometimes it's going to look masculine, and sometimes it's going to look feminine. It's just based upon the masculine energy is going to make God look like it's gonna make God look like the Holy Father or some shit like that. When really just talking about the fatherly, motherly type of energy just in general. So the Father would be like the overall awareness and direction of where we're going, and that's the broadest sense of where it can go. But we can't expand further without containing it after the fact. You get it? Expansion, contraction. We're gonna expand, and then we're gonna condense and contain and make a comfort zone of what we just expanded out of and go back into something else and stuff like that. You can't just keep going without going in something else and stuff like that. You need different forks in a row. You need different challenges and stuff like that. You need different boundary restriction and limits. You need different, you know what I'm saying? Like you need a adversary. You need a challenge. You need something to go up against and stuff like that to see how far you can keep going with something, so you can add more ability or creative merit and stuff like that, so you can expand further, and then you can end up finding out some shit that you capable of that you didn't realize you even fucking capable of for the most part, without, you know what I'm saying, without taking on the challenge, without taking on that, you know what I'm saying, like that going to war concept and stuff like that. And us being spirits, that's like us having a spaceship, because our spirit is our space. So from us having our own spaceship and stuff like that, we just flying around, you know what I'm saying, the astral realm and our spaceship and shit like that. It's just when y'all get lost into idol worship and stuff like that, y'all turn y'all spaceship into a worship, and then you end up going to war for someone else's space instead of you going to war for your own space and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Spiritual warfare. So from you understanding spiritual warfare and stuff like that, once you start to go to war about the shit you're able to do, just in general, you make your space bigger. So if you make your space bigger, you make your mind bigger. You're able to expand your mind. You're able to expand your mind. It's going to give you more passion and motivation to actually get up and do things when it comes to your physical body and your organs and stuff like that. And that's the thing that's going to make you physically fit, because you doing things to be spiritually fit, which is going to make you do mental exercises to make you be mentally fit for the job. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why that whole thing be saying, oh, you're not mentally fit for this. You have to be mentally fit, which leads to you being physically fit, which leads to you being an external world representation of what it looked like to be fit for the job, for whatever position that you're trying to play out and whatever role you're trying to play out just in general. So it's you understanding you can be a source of life. So from you being a sorcerer, you being a wizard, you being a male sorcerer and stuff like that, that's you understanding your own masculine energy so you can be a source when it comes to externalizing. And then if you're a female witch and stuff like that, that's you being a female sorcerer, so you understand I can attract people based upon my source. You know what I'm saying? Because men is walking attention span, and then women is walking attractiveness and stuff like that. So men will be walking awareness and knowledge and wisdom and stuff like that, and then one will be walking attractiveness to draw people towards that knowledge and wisdom. You get it? You know what I'm saying? Like it's really that simple though. It's really that simple though. You know what I'm saying? So the more you add more charm and charisma and stuff like that, and you understand your own magic and stuff like that, your own manifestations and stuff like that. Manifestation is just festering men and women. And you able to materialize it, you're showing your power and your ability. And then that's really it. You know what I'm saying? It's really that simple. So whenever y'all get lost into that God as a woman concept and they be using that to retort against the patriarchy concept and stuff like that, now you know all that shit mean and stuff like that. And the patriarchy be making up shit like that, really shout out government, be making up shit like that to make y'all lost, to make y'all look at God as a deity when it's not a deity at all, whatsoever. But just in general, yeah, you just have to understand that masculine and feminine part. Hold on. Yeah, you have to understand your yeah, as men, we have to understand our more feminine side. And then the more we understand that feminine side, we're going to have more emotional intelligence. So it's going to make us better as a man. And then women has to understand that masculine side, and it's going to make them stand on their own when it comes to them being a woman and stuff like that. Because it's going to be making it so they're able to actually be in that queen goddess type of energy. And then the nigga can be in that more kingly type of energy and stuff like that. But he's still able to add on to the space of what he got and add more awareness to what he got going on and stuff like that. Even though men like to play out that walking awareness just in general, and then women like to play out that walking attractiveness and stuff like that, it's just women based upon them being more below the horizon and men being more above the horizon. Women being more above the horizon and more into darkness and stuff like that, right? And darkness is just an accumulation of light. So that's why niggas like to take things more lightly and they be way more into I can't even say the word, the philosophical ideologies behind something and stuff like that. They don't like to deal with their emotions and feelings like that. And then if they do deal with their emotions and feelings, it get filtered in a real intellectualized type of way instead of them internalizing it. You get it? You know what I'm saying? Like they try to find a way to make it more broad or think and not be into that feeling into that feeling and emotion and stuff like that. They like to intellectualize that feeling and emotion. And then women, they'll soak into that that feeling and emotion and try to receive it. And it'd be hard for them based upon them being into that darkness and clouded judgment because they don't know how to take it more lightly. They don't know how to get out of that emotion and feeling. And based upon that's how they filter it and stuff like that. The minute a man or someone in more masculine energy, it could be a dyke for all I care, right? They're a woman, but they're more in that masculine type of energy. The minute they try to show them a broader awareness and stuff like that, that's what make them more bitchy and needy and stuff like that. And they ain't trying to hear you and stuff like that because you're not trying to cater to their needs. You're not trying to cater to their emotions and feelings at the end right now and stuff like that. That's why women be having periods and stuff like that, and they be on a cycle the same way how the moon cycle happens. They shift their moods a lot and stuff like that, and then based upon that mood and that sentiment and that temperament that they in, if they always in a bad temperament and they don't know how to make it a higher temperament or a lighter temperament and stuff like that, is either leading them to be all over the place or is always them being in a more negative, bad mood based upon clouded judgment because they don't know how to clear their atmosphere. They don't know how to clear their clouds and they don't know how to look at something from a more broader, clairvoyant type of space and leave more room to create more and add more attention span so they can have more thinking quality and shit. You know what I'm saying? So like women naturally, they be lacking that thinking quality, and then men naturally, they be lacking that emotional intelligence, awareness quality and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they always be on that I don't need no bitch type of concept. And then the minute women start getting tired of men and stuff like that, they'll be like, man, I don't need no man because of this, down the third. I figure this out myself and stuff like that until it's time to go get a U-Haul truck and move all your furniture and shit like that. And then now you got to be the man and lift up all the couches and all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like all your homegirls and then that's when you gonna start calling your homeboys and stuff like that. But yeah. But based upon right. So based upon the patriarchy and stuff like that, that religious concept, that's where that whole thing started from and stuff like that. So it's y'all being colonized in the mind based upon the sentiment of what they put out with religion, and then they'll put that into the public education and institutionalize y'all, right? And y'all have to go into these different universities that also represent these same things and stuff like that. That's why they be having up all these different Christian religious type of schools and stuff like that. They want to make that a part of it too, so you can get more lost into that. For the most part. And then based upon the things going on in entertainment, they'll put it in entertainment too and stuff like that to where it be all like to where it be all like what they call that shit, like they'll do some shit like bro, like they'll do those like super like female trope where all the females are gonna beat up on the men and shit like that, or you know what I'm saying? Like some feminine girl power type of shit and stuff like that to where like they have to beat the odds against something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like some The Boys type shit or like some superhero Marvel DC type of shit and stuff like that where all the female superheroes gotta have their woman girl power moment, all that type stuff. Like they be doing that. They be doing that type of shit on purpose. I'm not even trying to say you can't have women representation, but like they do shit like that in particular on purpose. So y'all have a certain ideology to how to look at men and women and stuff like that, all the way down to, oh, masculine colors represents blue and then feminine colors represent pink, and we got to make everything pink, when really they trying to make y'all get into, man, I'm never gonna, man, it's gonna get deep into some other shit. I already got other videos talking about that, the different color spectrums behind shit and stuff like that. So like the blue is just gonna make men more intellectual and communicative and diplomatic, and then pink just means pink like pussy, like pleasure and stuff like that. And it's light red, so it's you lacking passion behind something and stuff like that. And then from you lacking passion, you're gonna get a masculine, more domineering, passionate nigga to try to keep up the passions for you, and then you can be the female who gonna be all attractive and pretty and stuff like that, and you don't gotta do shit. You know what I'm saying? I like, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be like some like, oh yeah, I need a nigga to pay my bills type of concept and all that type shit, and they get y'all lost into the external world, all that type stuff. And then they don't make y'all have stronger mentalities and got no culture and no spiritual concept. You just all up in their culture, which is just some Europeanized Asian enlightenment type of culture or some shit like that, or just getting whitewashed, if I wanted to make that mad simple. So this in general, that's what leads to this God as a woman concept and stuff like that. Now, God just means all possibilities. So from it being all possibilities, God wants you to be a creator the same way how y'all look at God as the great creator. So all of creation, God just means all of creations. So from it representing all of creation, that's like the universe. And we make the world, we make the universe and stuff like that. It's not like the universe is something acting on its own, like some NASA, Neil deGrasse SpaceX, Elon Musk type of shit. Like the universe is acting on its own and stuff like that. No, we make the world. We make the world what it is and stuff like that, based upon our own subjective point of view, and based upon our own worlds and our own worldviews and our own subjectivity and our own cultures and stuff like that. We can bring all these different things together to make this a better world and stuff like that. So we can get out this humanistic state of being, so we can be into higher states of being than just some humanistic trait and stuff like that. And I know motherfuckers gonna get confused just for me saying that, because niggas gonna be all like, oh yeah, we're doing this for the greater of humanity and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And where's the humanity? Where's the compassion? Where's the kindness behind something when we're here to be one of a kind? If it's a kindness, it's a type of kind then. So it's a type of, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're here to be one of a kind. And when you start getting lost into sympathy and being overly sympathetic and stuff like that, you just gonna be some esoteric simp, regardless if you male or female. They like to get y'all lost into like some sympathizing type of mind state and stuff like that. And that's all humanistic traits, just in general. We trying to do something beyond just something that's humanistic and stuff like that. Human just means human. So it's like a shade, a color shade, a spectrum and stuff like that. So you're just getting lost into a color shade. You're just getting lost into a spectrum. We make light. We make light. We make spectrums. We make colors. We make characteristics and things of that nature. We make pigments. Pigments is like a pig mentality and stuff like that. What do pigs like to do? They like to feed. So it's like overindulging into something. So when you over sympathize and you overindulge into that particular thought, idea, feeling, emotion, that specific characteristic, that's like you telling the same joke over and over, and then niggas start getting tired of the joke, and then niggas start looking at you like, motherfucker, you got other jokes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be entertaining in other ways and stuff like that. You can't expand the spectrum of your creative ability. You have to keep creating the same shit and over, but different font. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like you getting stuck into a pocket of time, and you can't make new experiences and new moments and stuff like that. You can't put yourself in a new space. You get it? So just in general, based upon them putting out these different sentiments and stuff like that, right? That's what lead y'all to get lost into this God as a woman concept and stuff like that. That's what the patriarchy made up to make women confused, especially to make y'all confused about what God is, when God is not no fucking deity. It's all of existence. So from it being all of existence and all possibilities and all of creation and stuff like that, right? That's masculine and it's feminine. It's not just a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's men and women, just in general. Women got a womb, a pussy, a twat, and then men got a dick and balls, and they like to drop dick about shit, and they like to lead direction when it comes to something and think outside the box. And men like to help women let go of things, and then women help men hold on to things and make something reactive and make them more into their emotions and feelings and make them contain, make them care about something, just in general, instead of them just acting all buck wild and degenerate and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It make them act more civilized so we can make a civilization. Oh, how we gonna build society and stuff like that if we don't care about shit, just in general. So yeah, I get you want to create and build, but what are you creating and building it for? And it's going to add more purpose, and you can attract people to what you're building based upon, you know what I'm saying, the feminine type of energy for the most part. So people can come to your building for that particular vibe and things of that nature. Not you just make something and then it's cutthroat and dry and it got no vibe, it got no emotion behind it, it got no thing to make people want to be a part of it just in general. It's nothing to care for because the only thing you cared about was building it, but you didn't care about how to sustain it. You didn't care about how to make it keep going, just in general. So it's like a mechanism in itself when it comes to the masculine and feminine. And that's all the divine masculine and feminine really is and stuff like that. Because when you start talking about the divine, you just start talking about something that's celestial or heavenly. So once you start to understand, oh, God is just all possibility, all creation, the overall state of being, the overall awareness of everything and stuff like that. And we want to be aware, if there wasn't something like that, a state of being, then we wouldn't be aware about it. So you can include make believe, mythology, mystical type of shit, mythical beings and stuff like that. There is something out there of that being an entity, that being a thing, a part of existence. Because if it wasn't, we wouldn't be aware about it. So even though it's like some fanatical fiction, make believe type of shit, that's the whole point of us being here. We're taking things that are unseen and making it seen. We're taking things that are make believe and we make motherfuckers believe in it. You get it? So based upon that belief, it's your state of being and you're lying in it. And you can't get the truth without a lie. So the more you start to understand your own state of being and you believing in yourself, you can make other motherfuckers believe in what you believe in. You believe in yourself, and then that's it. You know what I'm saying? And then you can also see other people can believe in themselves, but we can also be in that culture of belief, though. You get what I'm saying? Like, so that's why it'd be important to believe in everything, but don't believe in anything. You get it? Believe everything, like anything is possible, but don't just don't be believing in anything. You know what I'm saying? That's really the real sin and stuff like that. You get lost into a certain thought. You get lost into a certain desire. You get lost into a certain feeling. Don't just believe in anything, but you could believe, oh yeah, it's possible to do something like that. Because we're here to take things that are make-believe and fiction and stuff like that and fanatical and look like some fantasy land type of shit that actually don't look real, and we show you, oh, that is real. Oh, there is something like that, just in general. That's like you accomplishing your dreams and no one believed in your ass, and then you believed in yourself enough to make other people believe in your ass from you believing in yourself, and then motherfuckers start believing in a vision the minute it actually started to get manifest and materialized from you doing it long enough. And you ain't let nothing stop you, because the universe don't work for you or against you. It's working through you. So from it working through you, sometimes it's gonna go with your sometimes it's gonna go in your favor, and then sometimes it's not gonna go in your favor. The same way when it comes to astrology and the seasonal transitions and stuff like that. The sun and the moon gonna be in a certain pocket. Like me, I'm a Taurus, sun and moon and stuff like that. The sun could be in Scorpio, and then the moon is in Aquarius and stuff like that. That's an opposition to my sun in a square and all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? It's probably not gonna go my way that day. But for me understanding that, that's not going to stop me from being frequent in my ability to do it. So regardless if it's going for me or against me, regardless if it's going with my conveniences, my wants, and my needs, the things I feel like are a necessity and stuff like that, I'm not getting lost into either or. And I'm understanding it's going through me, so I'm always going to get what I deserve, because I'm not getting lost into an expectation, anticipation type of energy of a certain way of how I want to go, a want or need. It going for me or against me. I'm understanding, oh, okay, that's just up and down when it comes to life. Sometimes it's going to go my way, and then sometimes it's not going to go my way. Sometimes I'm going to be a high, sometimes I'm going to be on a low. But I'm not going to stop doing what I want to create for myself. And then anything that look like a belief system is just an extension of my state of being, because that's really all that is. All these different belief systems are just different ways of cultures and stuff like that, of them understanding the state of being of where they at and what they're doing and stuff like that. And you can pick and choose what you want to extend to your state of being, and that's all that is. So it's you being like a leaf. That's a belief system. You're being like a leaf. It's like you being a tree, and then that leaf extension tree branch is just an extension of what you are already into, just in general. So once you start to make up your own beliefs and your own ideologies and creating your own way of how you look at the world, that's you being a part of God, being a part of existence. God wants you to be a creator. It wants you to be in a heavenly state of being. It wants you to understand, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like to be in the same position God was in when it was creating the universe and stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? Like, so it's not to say you're a ruler of all of reality and stuff like that, you can just make a world. You can just make a world. You can make a realm of reality and stuff like that. You can make yourself a part of reality, but you're not making the overall reality. Because we can clearly see there's things out here beyond just you making reality and stuff like that. Like the bugs and the animal and the seasonal transitions and all that type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like there's clearly live things in motion that we see. Like, you know what I'm saying? The earth rotating and all that type shit. There's clear things happening, mechanisms and all these different things happening in nature just in general, like birth, life, death, and all that type shit. And the more you go through that birth, life, death, and go through those natural mechanisms, not you forever trying to get stuck into birth, not you forever starting to get stuck into life, not you forever getting stuck into death, not you forever getting stuck into the external world and all that type stuff, and you understand the natural mechanism and transitions on a micro scale and a macro scale and stuff like that, the better. And that's really it for the most part. So it's not no thing, oh yeah, God is a woman and stuff like that. No, they just want y'all to get lost into a certain dichotomy to how to look at God when God ain't a deity. It's all possibilities. So sometimes it's gonna look like an entity, and then sometimes it's also gonna look like a deity. But the minute you start looking at it like a deity, like it's only some idol worship and all that type shit, that's just you getting lost into someone's mentality of how they want to deify the world and stuff like that, and make it so they the biggest lord demon walking on earth and stuff like that, and then they can't be that big degenerate walking demon without you paying attention to them, and then that's really it. Because if that was the case, I want you to make the Big Bang, and I want you to create the world right now, and you can't do that. You ain't gonna be able to do that. So any motherfucker who talking about some, oh yeah, we really gods and all that type shit, they just some God is degenerate, and they getting lost into their own light. You know what I'm saying? Like they getting lost into their my shit cut out. Yeah, they getting lost into their own ego narc type of energy, and they want they holy light to shine and shit like that without realizing this other motherfuckers who like they can shine and stuff like that. Sometimes you're gonna be the leader, and sometimes you're gonna be the spectator and stuff like that. But then the minute you try to lead the head charge and you try to emanate your light and your starlight and you being all up in the spotlight and stuff like that, but you ain't trying to share that shit with nobody else and all that type shit. You know what I'm saying? You just end up being a spiritual hater and stuff like that. You can't let other people be a part of your space and shit like that. You trying to control and create everything in things of that nature. You can't let other people a part of what you got going on and all that type shit. And teamwork make the gym work. It's not gonna be able to work without other people caring about what the fuck you caring about. It can't just be you caring about that shit. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be part of all the creation and shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, bro. Like, a motherfucker is always gonna be in a position to where they have a better know-how or more experience or more knowledge than you do when it comes to certain things. And you could look at them as a mental crutch, because that's all we trying to do in general. We be creating mental crutches. It just becomes a problem when you rely on that mental crutch too much. Because we're always gonna have mental crutches. But when y'all rely on those things too much and stuff like that, y'all be trying not to smell y'all own shit and stuff like that. Y'all own bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Y'all end up making a spiritual stench or stain of how y'all look, and y'all don't like to clean up y'all shit just in general. Y'all just leave that thing stinking and all that type stuff. But yeah. So just in general, yeah, it just leads to energies of getting outside of that comfort zone and stuff like that. And then women like to make men in a container, in a womb, in a comfort zone just in general. So overall, it's like perception and reception just in general. So from based upon perception and reception, y'all just be in this energy of receiving or reactionary or in a reception of something, but you're not trying to have some new worldview. You're not trying to have some new perception. You're just reacting and responding about something that already got perceived, or some type of perception or sentiment that's already out there, but you're just receiving it and you're reacting, but you're not trying to build on it. You're not trying to see it in another way and stuff like that. You're just in that reactionary receiving type of energy, internalizing, not in some perception type of mind state. You know what I'm saying? Some masculine energy. You trying to make something more broad. You're trying to add more awareness to it. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to think and expand and, you know what I'm saying, go outside the box type shit. You're just in that receiving, internalizing type of energy, and then you end up internalizing all these societal norms onto you of how to look at the world and all that type shit based upon the government and Walt Disney. And I already done explain all that shit. So just in general, yeah, that's basically how you can debunk that shit and kick that shit to the curb. And then you start to see in actuality, when you take off all the rose colored glasses and stuff like that, oh, that's what that shit is. Just in general. Oh, it's a thing based upon capitalism and what the shadow government and all that type shit is doing to put y'all into some type of mentality to make y'all go against y'all own people and go against y'all own men and women and all that type stuff. And it's going to lead to things like femcells and incels and red pill Jim Bro motherfuckers, circle jerk motherfuckers, and feminist motherfuckers who really acting out in the same energy. Y'all both really doing the same thing, just different font. Like y'all both literally doing the same shit, same rhetoric, same everything, just a different font and stuff like that to make y'all go against each other, to make y'all more confused and perplexing. Y'all going to war against each other, and then they can just make bank off of all that type shit, publicizing that shit on social media and all that type stuff, and then bring that amongst y'all people, and then y'all start worshiping black women caricature deities and all that type stuff for the most part, instead of y'all trying to actually create y'all own shit y'all got going on, instead of getting lost into that concept. And that's really it, bro. Like that's man man this game more awareness, this game more enlightenment, for real. That's all I gotta say against that. But yeah, that's basically all that shit is, for real.